Hey y'all, it's Delaney and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be unpacking my 2023 listening habits and at the end of the video, unveiling my 2024 Song of the Year. Okay, so I don't use Spotify, so I don't have a Spotify Wrapped. I have an Apple Music replay, alright, get your jokes off, whatever. I didn't start streaming music until the end of 2021. So my family just had Apple Music and I was like, alright, period, put me on the plan, like, whatever. I don't have any strong opinions about one or the other, but just so y'all know, for Apple Music, it's called Replay. If you don't know how it works, just like Spotify Wrapped, you have a playlist at the end of the year, but I don't think it's the same for Spotify in that with Apple Music, your replay is available all year round. And even when you like first access it, usually people will post it around the time the Spotify Wrap drops, just so that we feel included. It is a living, breathing thing. It will change. Like last year, within a week, my third and fourth most listened to artists switched because they were that close together. And whatever I listened to that week changed the count. So I have looked at my replay maybe a month ago. I remember some of it, but not all of it. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've decided to do things kind of from least to most revealing. So I'm gonna start with genre. I feel like people talk a lot about how streaming platforms classify genre. It's weird. Like, let me tell you, it tells me my top 5 genres. My number 5 is soul. Number 4, contemporary R&B. Number 3, pop. Number 2, R&B and soul. That's 1. And then number 1 is hip hop. Like obviously there are some things that you can infer, like, okay, contemporary R&B, that's reasonable because it's different from soul. But like, how are y'all classifying R&B and soul as one genre, R&B and with an ampersand, soul, and then just soul? I have a theory, of course, because I know my listening habits. I think I listen to a pretty significant amount of like older soul music, and I can see that just being soul, and then maybe some of the not necessarily super new R&B, but like maybe like early 2000s, maybe 90s, that being the R&B and soul because it's kind of in the middle. And then contemporary R&B being like R&B from the past like 10 years. That being said, nothing about those genres surprises me necessarily. That's pretty much what I listen to. I would be interested to see what the genres would be if they would collapse some of those into each other. Some of the similar ones so that I could see like what's under that. And it's funny because Apple Music usually gives you your top 10 of things instead of your top 5. But for whatever reason, for genres, it's only your top 5. Okay, albums. This is going to be even more telling. My number 5 album, actually, should I do my top 10? I'm gonna do my top 10. And y'all are gonna look at me like, Delaney. It actually gives me my top 15, but I'm gonna do my top 10. Because after 10, it's really like, girl, what? Number 10, Original Musicarium, Stevie Wonder. Now, Original Musicarium is a compilation album. There are some like songs that were new at the time on that album, but it's a compilation album. I like Stevie Wonder a lot. That's surprising to nobody who has ever had a conversation with me or has even seen this channel or follows me on Twitter. So he will come up a lot. Number 9, Omega, Emmanuel Wilkins. I love Emmanuel Wilkins. I don't listen to a whole lot of jazz. And that changed when I discovered Emmanuel Wilkins. I think he's very phenomenal and talented. I think you can tell I'm a little smitten with him because I think he's an enormous talent. And I really enjoy his work. And this was his debut album, came out in 2020, I believe. And yeah, I listen to it a lot. I'm just gonna save everybody a whole lot of time. I already said I love Stevie Wonder. Number 8, Songs of the Key of Life. Number 7, Fulfilling This First Finale. Number 6, Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants. Number 5, Inner Visions. And number 4, Music of My Mind. Yep. When I said I listened to a lot of Stevie Wonder, I wasn't lying. My number 3 listened to album this year is actually very different. It's Like by Ice Spice. I have really been enjoying Ice Spice. I feel like as somebody who is really into books and reading and history and a lot of like, I don't know, kind of like academic and nerdy stuff, I feel like a lot of people would expect me to be a conscious rap girl. Maybe I'll do a video on that, but I'm actually very much not. I do not listen to conscious rap pretty much at all. Um Maybe here and there. I used to be a really big J. Cole fan. There's no like reason why I'm not. I just like discovered other stuff and drifted away. And I listen to a bit of Kendrick Lamar every now and then. But for the most part, when I'm listening to rap music, I'm trying to turn up. I want to hear something ratchet. I want to hear something like it's just a vibe or something that's like very, very ratchet. Like I listen to this type of shit they want to ban. I'm sorry, I do. As far as like as a project, I really liked it. I thought it was cute. I was very excited for it when it came out. I'm not necessarily surprised that it's in my top albums. I think there were some songs that I had on repeat from this project, and overall, I'm excited to hear more from Ice Spice. I mean, she blew up super quick, and I feel like she handled it well. And I'm excited to see her first studio album. Number 2, Talking Book by Stevie Wonder. Okay, so I did a video on Talking Book, actually. It was one of my first videos on this channel. And it was about it being my album in residence. I listened to it for about 7 months straight. That like I was listening to the entire album like on repeat, like nearly every single day. I listened to that album. And so I won't get into a whole lot about it here because I have like a nearly 30-minute video on this album. And I also have one on Intervisions as well because it was the 50th anniversary of Intervisions this year. I maintain that I do not have a favorite Stevie Wonder album. However, I will say Talking Book has a very special place in my heart. That is about as far as I'll go with that. I would never say it's my favorite Stevie Wonder album, but it has a very special place in my heart. If you want to hear more about Talking Book, I will link the video that goes into how I feel in depth about every song on that album. It's a perfect album to me. I truly love it. And my number 1 album of the year, Renaissance by Beyonce. Listen, I'm hyped down. Like, I love Beyonce. I've met Beyonce. That is one of the highlights of my life. Um, and the Renaissance era, like, I've always been a huge Beyonce fan, but like the Renaissance era turned me into a whole different animal. Like, it's very ridiculous. I just as a body of work, I thought it was phenomenal. As someone who is very interested in history and the stories that lie beneath the surface of music, how she tied in her personal family history as well as the overarching story and significance of dance music and queer culture and Black queer culture, like Renaissance is a masterpiece to me. Beautiful, beautiful album. Okay, let's do my top 10 songs of the year, and we're just gonna rattle them off. Number 10, In Her Mood, Ice Spice. Number 9, Princess Diana, Ice Spice. Number 8, Where's Rumble? Rumble. Number 7, Evil, Stevie Wonder. Number 6, Looking for Another Pure Love, Stevie Wonder. Number 5, Love Having You Around, Stevie Wonder. Number 4, Seems So Long, Stevie Wonder. Number 3, Ruth's Chris Freestyle by Rumble featuring Draco the Ruler. Number 2, Gangsta Boo, Ice Spice. And number 1, Acting a Smoochie, Ice Spice. Now, my top songs actually surprised me. I wasn't expecting, I wasn't expecting Acting a Smoochie to be number 1. I don't remember listening to that song a whole lot. I'm wondering if maybe because it's the very first song in my library, like alphabetically, if it like plays when I plug my phone into something or something like that. I don't know. But I do really like Acting Smoochie. It had to grow on me a bit because it wasn't necessarily a song that I had on repeat when I first started listening to her project. I'm not gonna go too much into all the Stevie Wonder songs that are on here just because like girl, we get it. I love Stevie Wonder, like we get it. But in my top songs, we start to see an artist that we haven't talked about so far, Rumble. If you don't know, Rimble is what I would say like a mid-size in terms of popularity, West Coast rapper. And I'm from LA. I'm from Inglewood. So I know that West Coast rap can be kind of polarizing. Some people just don't get it. But I do. Rimble is one of my favorite rappers. I think that not a lot of people sound like him. He does sound very West Coast, so like I can definitely see the influence of people like Draco the Ruler, who's on one of the songs that's in my top 10 on Rimble. Like that's actually how I got into Rimble. I started listening to Draco a lot, and Draco was also one of my favorite rappers. And my sister was like, "Oh, if you like Draco, you'll like Rimble." And I really, really do. I think I like mumble rap. I think it's great, and it blew up and became the phenomenon that it is for a reason. But I do like when I see somebody coming along and doing something different. And Rimble, I think, is the literally the antithesis of mumble rap. He is so pointed in his pronunciation and the way he enunciates words, and his flow is so matter of fact. It's so it it's just like piercing to me in a way that it's just witty, it's clever. I just enjoy him. Every time I'm rapping along to Rimble, like after a while, my jaw starts hurting because I'm like, how does he deliver lines like that? I just don't get it. It's not for everybody, but I don't know. He just makes me feel like very pompous and in a way that I like to feel when I'm listening to rap. Like it's very much like, why would you ever try me? Why would you ever fuck with me? Like I love it. Okay, on to my top artists. Now, there's gonna be more variation here. I know y'all are probably like, thank God, girl, because we've heard about the same like three people this whole time. That's fine. My number 10 artist is Fred Hammond. If you don't know Fred Hammond, he's a legendary contemporary gospel artist. Um, he's one of my favorite singers ever. In terms of just like, I mean, his catalog as well, but just his voice. He's someone whose voice I admire so much. And yeah, I was glad to see him show up because I do have me a little gospel moment. My last video was about gospel music. If you have not watched it, what are you doing? My number 9 artist is somebody who is very close to my heart. He's a rapper named Kengdom, straight out of Memphis. And he's also my cousin. Now, because he's my cousin, like I would support him regardless. I would share his music, put it on my story, whatever. But I guarantee you, if I did not like his music, he would not be in my top 10. My top 10, he wouldn't be there. I love his music. I think he's very talented. I cannot wait for his moment. I can't wait for him to blow up. Please go listen to his music. I will link. What should I link? I'll link my favorite project of his. My favorite project of his is his EP Domingo, and he has that EP. He has some singles out. He has 2 albums out, and that's the thing. Like he be working. He be putting in time. Like he's just a very hardworking person, and he really cares about his artistry. Um, and yeah, I hope that y'all at least give him a listen and support. My eighth most listened to artist is Draco the Ruler. Like I said, one of my favorite rappers. His delivery is just so like nonchalant. He's one of those artists that like I just really love the way his music makes me feel. There's some wild stuff in there, I'm not gonna lie. But like I like the way it makes me feel in that I am somebody who sweats the small stuff and he's really just that type, like just don't give a fuck at all. And I like that like letting shit roll off of me type of feeling that I get when I listen to his music. Number 7 is Jasmine freaking Sullivan. I love Jasmine Sullivan. That's where that contemporary R&B comes in my top genres. Jasmine Sullivan is literally like one of the artists that I connect to the most. I think she has a very specific voice in R&B that captures I feel like the everyday girl. Like her storytelling on hotels. First of all, I mean, I've been a Jasmine Sullivan fan literally since Fearless, her first album. But hotels, I mean, the storytelling on that album, it being a concept album, I'm also very partial to that because I love story and that sort of thing and narrative in music. But I mean, that was no surprise to me that she would be in my top 10 because I love me some Jasmine Sullivan. Like number 6 is Tyler the Creator. Tyler the Creator, I would say, is a defining artist for me. Like he is someone whose music I found at a time in my life when I really needed to hear it. I will say I was an OF kid down. Like, a lot of people got problems with early Tyler the Creator. I do not blame you at all because some of that shit is vulgar. But at the time, I was in a very dark place in my life when I found him, and that kind of like, I know you said it wasn't horrorcore, but like, nigga, it is horrorcore. That that incredible like countercultural like shock value sort of thing that he was doing at the beginning of his career like really spoke to me in that place that I was in, that like mad at the world place that I was when I first found his music. And so he has like always sat with me, and he's also an artist that I feel like has evolved in such a clear and measured way. Like, his evolution from his earliest projects to his last project is so consistent, and I think he's a brilliant artist. And I'm glad that I'm getting back into him because I feel like after Goblin, I kind of dropped off a bit just because like I was very much in that like OF like mindset. I was listening to like Mellow Hype and Earl Sweatshirt and all that type of stuff. And when I started to expand my horizons, I feel like I kind of left it behind a little bit, but I'm getting back into him and getting to know his newer sound. And I think it's gorgeous. Like, I'm into it. Number 5 is Rimble. We just talked about him. Number 4 is Ice Spice. We talked about her. But one last thing I want to say about Ice Spice, because I feel like, she blew up and very, very quickly. And, we can have our conversations about why that was. I really enjoy her music, and I feel like I get from Ice Spice's music what I wish I got from Saweetie. I feel like Saweetie has grown on me, and that like I've always liked like maybe one or two of her songs. Like, I like My Type, I like Tap In, those are her big songs. Icy Girl. But I've always just liked her aesthetic and her vibe more, and it very rarely translated into the music for me. And that like nonchalant, like pretty girl, like just looking cute, just very like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, just being fine, like just having fun, just vibing. That's, I feel like, Saweetie's vibe, and it very rarely transferred over into her music for me. I feel like that's what I get from Ice Spice, and that's why I really like her music. And I can go more in depth about that in another video, like why certain types of rap or rappers get this backlash. I mean, it's very prevalent in female rappers, but also in newer rappers in general, like get this backlash for having music that lacks substance or whatever. But I think every genre has their like codes of things. Like, for example, in rap, like not writing your own stuff, that's like a thing that will make people think lesser of you than like if you were a pop musician or, I don't know, some other genre. Like we talked about in my last video, gospel music and how bringing in influences from hip hop was something that might make people think lesser of you. Like, every genre has their either spoken or unspoken codes. Maybe it's because of hip hop's origins, but I feel like rapping about things that are seemingly trivial or like, I don't know, not having what other people perceive to be a larger purpose to why you rap, um, can make people see you as less than in the genre. As somebody who has been very deep in creating music, talking about music, writing about music, all this other shit about music, as somebody who has done music for a job, literally always, um, I really, really value the importance of enjoying yourself and having fun. Like, I take music incredibly seriously in that I think there's a lot of music that deserves to be studied, that deserves to be documented, and all of that. But I think two things can be true at once. And I don't need Ice Spice to be rapping about student loan debt and shit. Like, I just don't. I need her to rap about looking cute, pulling niggas, like being pretty, like just all of that type of stuff. That's what I like to hear. And I don't think that that makes me a bimbo or whatever. I feel like people act like if you listen to stuff like that, it that's what that says about you. But I don't think it says anything about me because we just talked about how much Stevie Wonder I listen to. He's literally one of the most, literally a very universally loved and agreed upon songwriter, visionary, genius, and I use that word incredibly sparingly, um, in music. And so, what does that say about me that I love him, but I also love Ice Spice? I don't know. I don't think it says anything about me, to be clear. I think it just says I like Stevie Wonder, not like Ice Spice. But there are a lot of people that draw conclusions about someone based on the music that they like. But what I'm trying to convey is that I think, things serve the purpose that they're supposed to serve. And when I want to think about just looking cute and having a gangsta boo, I'm gonna turn on Ice Spice. I'm not gonna turn on Stevie Wonder for that. I'm not gonna turn on Marvin Gaye for that. My number 3 most listened to artist is Emmanuel Wilkins. I already talked about him. Love his music, incredible. Please listen if you haven't heard it. My number 2 most listened to artist is Beyonce. This has been an incredible year for my relationship with Beyonce. I mean, I can't even tell you. I think I'm gonna do a TikTok about it, how much money I have spent on that woman this year. Like, I can't believe what she's done to me. Like, I can't believe, like, she got me bad. She got me by my purse bad this year. It's crazy. But you know what? It's not for nothing because everything that I got from that album this year and will continue to get, I've been getting my life. I've been enjoying it a lot. It's been amazing. And my number 1 artist, which surprised nobody, is, always has been, and always will be Stevie Wonder. And when I tell you, it wasn't even close. Let me tell you, my second most listened to artist, Beyonce, I listened to for 2,756 minutes this year. I listened to Stevie Wonder for 6,780 minutes this year. It wasn't even close. And I love every single artist in my top 10, every single one. But when, like, I feel like people, they hear, oh, Delaney loves Stevie Wonder so much. And then they hear something like that. They hear the difference, the numerical difference between how much I listen to other artists and how much I listen to him. And they're like, damn. And it's like, yeah, and I actually, maybe I'll compare it to last year's if I can find it. Because I feel like I listened to less Stevie Wonder this year than I usually do. But, hey, maybe I did. And maybe it was even more last year. Who knows? So that's my Apple Music replay. I didn't really see any like surprises in that for me very much. It was as I expected. In terms of my listening habits this year, I feel like I'm getting closer to exploring new music when it comes out because I have a very big chunk of, like, I would say maybe early 2010s to like maybe a year or 2 ago where I just was not listening to new music. Like, huge songs. I remember a friend was singing Bodak Yellow, height of 2017, when apparently it was everywhere. I wouldn't know. I was listening to new music. I was only listening backwards because I love older music and history and all that type of stuff. So I'm more inclined to listen backwards than I am to listen to current music. And she had said something from Bodak Yellow, and I kind of looked at her puzzlingly, and she was just like, have you really never heard that song? And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But this year, I feel like I've been doing better about listening to projects when they come out, keeping up with artists, and just trying to listen to music more casually. Because I feel like one of the reasons why I don't listen to new music is kind of similar to why people rewatch shows, because it's like a comfort. And also because new things reveal themselves in old music to me, as I'm sure is true with anyone. But I'm trying to just exercise the muscle of just listening to music casually, but I don't know, my brain kind of goes haywire when I listen to music. It's a very involved activity for me. So to turn on something new can be a little laborious. So let's get into Song of the Year. So, of course, for some people, Song of the Year is either the song they listen to the most in that year or just their favorite song of the year, no matter how much they listen to it. But I've started doing Song of the Year kind of backwards, where at the top of the year, I will pick a song that I want to be my theme of the year. And it's kind of like a New Year's resolution, but drawing inspiration from a song. So for 2023, my song of the year was Dream Big by Jasmine Sullivan. I think I accomplished some pretty cool things this year. I finished grad school. I hit 5 years on my podcast, Constantly Black. We launched merch to celebrate that. There was something else I did this year. Oh, I started this channel, which is something that I have been putting off for an embarrassing amount of time. I don't necessarily feel like I embodied the essence of that song this year, just in my mindset. I feel like I kind of let like negative emotions and just a negative outlook get the best of me this year. And I feel like it really prevented me from being happy. It wasn't fun. And I could tell just by being an observant person that it wasn't fun for the people around me either. Because I picked up on the looks and that and the just the vibe of like in the comments and stuff. Like I think I was complaining too much. I was not a fun person to be around for people in my life. And so I don't necessarily think that I embodied dream big, even though I did accomplish some things and I can recognize that. And those two things don't always go hand in hand. Sometimes you accomplish big things when you're not feeling like you are an accomplished person. But two things can exist at the same time. That being said, I picked a new song for 2024, and that song is Be Like Water by PJ Morton featuring Stevie Wonder and Nas. When I first heard this song, it was completely by chance. Um, I don't listen to PJ Morton, not for any reason. I just had never gotten around to it. He had been recommended to me because I feel like he's kind of he's definitely a collaborator and not necessarily a direct protege, I would say, but like a little bit of Stevie Wonder. And obviously, since I really love Stevie Wonder, people recommended to me that I listen to PJ Morton. Hadn't really gotten around to it, but I just happened to see this song. And when I first listened to it, how do I explain? Well, for one, I was like, I definitely see Stevie's influence in it, in that Stevie Wonder has this air of positivity about some of his music that can skew a little, I don't want to say cheesy because that has a very negative connotation. Not very, but like it can be, but I don't mean it in a bad way. It can be a little on the nose and it could be like a little hippy dippy. Like, and I like that because I feel like I talked about, kind of erring on the side of negativity for a lot of things. I feel like he lifts me up in that way. But sometimes it does err on the side of like, okay, baby. Like, and that's how I felt about Be Like Water. It's a little on the nose in terms of like the message of the song. And I just thought it was kind of funny when I first listened to it. And then I was like, I didn't really think I was gonna come back to it. And then I found myself singing it. And then I was like, this is kind of calming. And then I was like, all right, okay. And since I'm trying to embrace, like just stepping into stuff that I have not done and I don't know, just trying to change mindset, I'm like, why not make this my song of the year for 2024 and try to really embrace the message of that song. And just trying to live my life that way. We'll see how it goes. I will check in with you guys around this time in 2024 to discuss whether or not I lived my life like water and unveil my 2025 song of the year. With that, I wish everybody a happy new year. Thank you so much for watching. These are my social media handles, including my TikTok, Books About Music, where you can learn more about the books that I use to make my videos. You can also subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so that you can get a notification every time I get off my butt and post a video. Thanks again, and I'll see y'all next time.